about those 10. The first is location, okay? You know, they always talk about location, location, location is the single most important thing when you buy a house, and you should consider that, you know. How close is it to where you want to be, to work, to church, to shopping? You know, sometimes the perfect home can be 5 miles from the closest grocery store, and that becomes pretty inconvenient when you need to go to the store 5 times a week, or maybe you're a long way from the daycare center or work, or maybe the fitness center. Think about that when you're choosing the right place that you want to be in the right neighborhood. Second is the site, okay? You know, beyond the location, look at the site of the home. If it's up on a hill, for example, does it have a view? If it has a walk-up basement, does walk-out basement, are you able to walk out into something that's really going to be worth jumping out into? Are there a lot of stairs to climb to get in the door? Do the neighbor? How about this? Do the neighbors' windows look right into directly into your home, so that when you're going to have to keep the curtains shut all the time so you don't see what the neighbors are doing? What about the backyard? Do you have pets? Do you have a dog or kids? Do you like to garden? You know, those are all things that you want to look at. The whole site, the whole area that the house is laid out on. Neighborhood is a big thing. You know, more than when you go and look at the house, I'm going to encourage you to go back on the weekday, go back at night, go back on the weekend if you can in a neighborhood so you see what it's like. Are there kids playing out on the street, for example? Are there dogs roaming? Are there just people who are friendly and enjoying themselves, or does it seem like it's a mini prison? You know, check that out, and you'll see. Um, the home's curb appeal, not just for you. I mean, you know, sometimes people are so rushed to get in the front door that they don't step back and look at what the house looks like. What kind of exterior features does it have? A brick home, for example, is easier to maintain, unless, of course, you live in an earthquake zone. We don't have that in central Illinois. But, you know, how attractive is the landscaping? Is it the landscaping? And I'll give you this: the landscaping may be very attractive, but you may not have a green thumb. So you think, oh, this is, you know, I just can't keep up with it. It looks beautiful now, but can I keep it that way? Or what can I do to make it look more beautiful? Think about the curb appeal. The next thing is the size of the house and the floor plan. You know, you walk into this home and you think it's your dream home, but maybe it's impractical. Maybe you need 4 bedrooms and 4 baths because you have so many kids. Or maybe you live alone and 4 bedrooms and 4 baths just isn't very practical. Um, a large space. I like to suggest you buy a house that's just a little bit bigger than what you need, so you can grow into it. Maybe have a home office or a guest room. Maybe you like to have crafts or art projects or something like this. You know, you'll pay a little bit more for heating the extra room. And you might have slightly higher taxes, but I think in the long run, if you pick the right size and floor plan, you're gonna be happier in the long run. Bedrooms and bathrooms, that's the next thing. You know, how many bedrooms and bathrooms you need, and how many is going to be practical for you. It would really be sad if you fell in love with a really tiny, cozy little bungalow, and then you found out after you bought it that you really didn't even have the space to store the things that you needed to store because you didn't have the rooms. You didn't have the storage space. Or maybe, again, a guest room or home office is important to you, especially in COVID times. A lot of people are working from home and they like that extra space. You know, the kitchen is really the next thing, and the kitchen's the heart of the home. If you don't cook, it's not as big a deal, but it will affect your resale value. If you do cook, make sure that the kitchen works for you, that you have the counter space, you have the storage space, the pantry, whatever you need. You want to make sure that that's right. I don't have very many clients who are kitchen focused, who don't rush to the kitchen when we walk in the first door. But I do have people who are kind of like part-time cooks and chefs, and they get into the home and they say, "Gee, I wish I would have gotten a home that had space for more preparation, for example, for cooking." Something that you don't always think about in the perfect house is closets and storage. You know, older homes especially tend to have really tiny closets in them and not a lot of storage space. And if you have a lot of stuff, maybe you have a lot of sports equipment or craft supplies, maybe you have old clothes, or maybe you're just a pack rat, holiday decorations. You know, you think about where they're going to fit in your new home. You know, if we're looking at a newer home, they tend to have bigger closets. They tend to have more storage built in. You can always add storage space. You can always add an outdoor shed or something like that. But even if if you don't want to do an outdoor shed, you might have to sacrifice your bedroom, that extra bedroom, for the storage. Windows and lighting is a big thing, you know. Seeing the house in the morning or early in the day, or seeing it late in the day is gonna tell you whether or not that house is going to be right for you all day long. Does it have big windows, you know, and so it lets a lot of light in? Or maybe you don't want a lot of light in. Maybe you want the house to be a little bit darker, and you want to kind of light the house yourself. If you're going to be lighting it yourself, we need to think about where the electrical outlets and fixtures are going to be, so that we can set it up accordingly. So anyway, that's lighting and window placement is very important. And finally, the last thing, the 10th thing on here, is the finishing touches. You know, sometimes the simplest home looks spectacular thanks to installed things, moldings, hardware, and fireplaces. If the kind of elements are important to you, look for them while you're house hunting, or you know, you can always add them after you move in. So just because a house doesn't have it hasn't been trimmed out to look perfect, think to yourself, can I do that? Could I add what I saw in this crown molding or something else that I saw in the last house? Anyway, those are 10 things, 10 tips that I'm going to give you for picking out your house. Next time we're going to get into listing your house. I hope that you're having a great day, and we will see you again soon.